A slasher in scuba diver gear in Amsterdam? Sign me up. Welcome to a Patreon review for Jeanette Spevak. Thank you so much for joining my Patreon. And in case you don't know, I have a Patreon, so if you donate money, you can get reviews like this. So let's talk about Amsterdamned. Great title, by the way. And so, yeah, this movie is about a slasher in Amsterdam, and you got a police investigator trying to figure out who's doing these killings. Are the kills connected in any way? Is it just random killings? Why is he doing it? Who is it? This was my first time viewing, and I had heard of this movie before, but just never really had interest in checking it out. But now that I have seen it, let's talk about what I like and don't like about it. What I like about this movie is the bad translations in the film. It was all recorded in Dutch, and then the English ADR. There's just some funny lines of dialogue where it's just like, that's not how we talk in America. Like this one scene where he's like, "Oh, so she dumped on you. Like she took a dump on you." He made it sound like she took a shit on him, but really all she did was break up with him. So there's just funny ADR lines in here, and I like the killer's outfit. It's different. I like different looking outfits, every now and then just to change things up, because it's better than just having a serial killer walking around and no outfit. So I like that this guy's wearing all scuba gear. He's like swimming down the canals, and then just we get like the killer POV above the water, kind of like in Jaws: The Revenge. Um, so I like that, and so I like the outfit. And this movie actually has some good cinematography work in it. It's actually a well shot slasher movie, and it's even got a cool 80s sounding score to it that I really liked. And I like the location. Like, it's called Amsterdamned. It actually looks like it is Amsterdam. I don't think they actually shot at the red light district. I looked into that. They like had to recreate it, but it looks cool. Like, this place looks beautiful at times, but then they also have some scenes where they make it look like Manhattan in Friday the 13th Part 8, where it just looks trashy, graffiti, and garbage everywhere. So it looks nasty and gritty at times, but then there's other times where this location, Amsterdam, looks beautiful. Like, I would actually like to go there sometime. And I like the chemistry between the dad, the main character, the cop, and his daughter, who's kind of got like a crude sense of humor and takes jokes a little too far, like pointing loaded weapons at her dad. Like, it's funny. Not funny. Um, I wish there was more of that, though. There's just not enough of the father-daughter relationship in here, to the point where it's like completely useless by the end of the film. Like, it goes nowhere. The fact that he has a daughter is irrelevant to the plot. The daughter does nothing, and she's barely in the film. But what we get from them, I actually really liked, and I wish there was more between them. And maybe she gets involved more in the plot, where he has to go save her. Like, the killer finds out he has a daughter, and therefore the killer gets the daughter. Now he has to save the daughter. Something like that. I just wanted more of that character in here. And there's a lot of good stunt work in this movie, like a lot of car chases, motorbike chases, speedboat chases, and it's really good. It's actually really impressive, a lot of the stunt work in here. And there's also a few comedic moments in it, some dark humor that really landed for me, especially like the opening kill and what happens with the body. Hilarious. So, like that stuff. As for the things I didn't care for in this movie, I did not like the pacing of this movie. It just was dragging at times for me, and that's probably because it's 2 hours long. This is a long slasher. I think this is longer than Happy Birthday to Me. And a slasher movie should never be 2 hours long. There's no reason. I mean, come on. And another thing I'm noticing about myself as I'm watching more and more slashers is that I don't care for slashers that have police investigations throughout, or even just some police investigations. Like, it always takes me out of the movie. It's never interesting to me. Like in Fade to Black, that subplot with the whole police investigation thing going on. Whenever there's a police investigation in a slasher, I check out. Like, it's never intriguing. There's like hardly any mystery to this movie at all. And in fact, this movie, spoiler, pulls like a Pamela Voorhees. You can't guess who the killer is in this movie, and they don't really even set up red herrings. There's only like one guy I suspected to be the killer, and then it makes it look like that's going to be the killer, and then it even seems like they're revealing that this person is the killer, and then they pull like a 180, and it's like, no, it's this person who you never met. I was like, oh, fuck you, you tricked me. I thought I was right, but nope, I'm wrong. But I kind of like that because it was totally unexpected. But still, like, the whole mystery of the movie, it was just not there. I was not intrigued in this whole investigation. The kills were all off camera. There's like, I don't think there's any gore in this film at all. Yeah, there's like hardly any blood in it too. And the killer's got like a harpoon weapon and a big ass knife, and it's all off camera. It's all just left to be, in your mind. You gotta just make it up and imagine what's going on camera. I don't like that. All right, this is 1988. Why are we shying away from gore? Maybe that's just the style of Dutch films. They don't like to show gore, but come on. Yeah, there's not enough of the daughter. I already talked about that. And then the whole third act just slows down. The pacing of this movie is really uneven. Like, it starts to pick up, and then it just slows down for quite a while. And there's a lot of, like, romance between the cop and this other chick that I didn't like their romance together. It just felt forced. And then it starts speeding up again, and then you think it's about to end. Like, I thought this movie was about to end like 3 times. I'm like, all right, it's about to wrap up, and nope, there's like another half hour left. This movie should have been 90 minutes long. I mean, it's not that boring of a film, but it was just the pacing. It was all over the place. It was like speeding up and getting going, and then it just slowed down, and then the third act slows down even more. Like, that whole boat chase sequence, I thought that's when it was about to end, but then there was like another 20 minutes left, and it just slowed down. The ending is anticlimactic to me. So, yeah, but at the end of the day, final thoughts. This is an okay slasher movie. It's a little too long for its own good. It should have been trimmed down some. There should have been more of a, focus on the daughter and her relationship with the dad, or her weird friend. She has like this psychic friend where he thinks he's psychic. All that stuff just goes nowhere. There's a lot of filler in the movie. I didn't care for the police investigation, the romance between this lead and this other girl who's a scuba diver, but I like the killer. I like the idea behind a couple of these kills, but unfortunately they're not on camera. But it's an okay slasher. It's worth checking out. It's not the worst thing ever. So when it comes to Amsterdam, it's an 80s cheesy slasher that's definitely worth checking out. So rent it at Redbox. All right, time for a spoiler discussion. So we open up with the POV killer camera in the water, just bobbing up and down. It reminded me of the opening of Jaws 4. And so we get this very rapey taxi driver who is like trying to like force this hooker down on his crotch, and then later on tells the police investigators like, she was flirting with me. This kind of reminded me of the opening of Graduation Day. Come on, I pay my taxes. He's trying to fuck the soldier chick coming back from war. Very much like that. But yeah, so this poor hooker, long day of getting plowed, and then has to deal with this taxi driver, and then right after that gets killed by the scuba diver killer, and then this hobo witnesses this murder, clearly sees a scuba diver killing this woman, and then reports to the police that she saw a monster killing. So I'm not sure what the fuck she was on. She must have been high on meth or something. She thought she saw a monster. But then we get the best scene in the movie. The next day, that hooker's body is like strung up, hanging from a bridge, and there's like a tour boat with like nuns and all these school children, like little kids, and they're like going underneath the bridge, and the body gets ran over by the boat, and then the body is like dragging on top of like the roof of the boat, which is like a glass ceiling, so they can see the body like smearing blood across the top. And then there's even like a hole, like an opening, and the body like falls down for a minute and then gets dragged back. It's just hilarious. I was like laughing out loud. That was the best scene. I was like, man, I hope this movie keeps it up, keeps staying this awesome. Not so much, but yeah, best scene in the movie right there. And oh yeah, and then the daughter, she's like pointing a loaded weapon at her dad in the bathtub, taking a bubble bath. Like, what grown man takes a bubble bath? Come on, what the fuck? But then he's not even mad that his daughter is pointing a loaded weapon at him as a joke. That is not funny. And then I like how he goes and stops a robbery at like a bakery, and then the owner doesn't even thank him at all. Like, he's like more mad that he ruined a cake in the process of saving him money. Like, thank you for not even thinking. He's just like, oh, you saved me from getting robbed and potentially killed. The guy was armed, but fuck you for ruining a cake. The guy was a dick. More upset about a cake being destroyed. All right, so and then we see like these two guys getting like water samples. They're trying to like prove that this local factory is like polluting the water or something, I think. And then they both get killed off camera, but we find like the one guy's severed head on like the anchor, which was a good looking fake head. And then we get some bad translation here. She dumped on you. She took a shit on you. What is this, Germany? I thought we were in Amsterdam. And so then we get this charity thief going around asking for money for like God, but then she's like, she's taking all the coins and pocketing it herself. So then you're like, oh, she's gonna get killed and she deserves it. We got to set up these characters to be unlikable before they die. And so yeah, she gets killed off camera. Nothing special there. And then this is in a lot of movies where like when there's an investigation going on and they can't find the killer, there's always these assholes that just walk into police headquarters and they're like, oh, it was me, I turned myself in. Like, why do people do that? It's so stupid. Like, people need that much attention. They're gonna take credit for shit that they're not doing. This old like half naked guy wearing like swim goggles is like, I did it, arrest me. It's in a lot of movies like Cherry Falls, I think. There's just a lot of slashers where people just like turn themselves in for attention. And then we get kind of like this Nightmare on Elm Street moment. It made me think of the scene with the glove in the bathtub, except in this scene, the killer is attacking a girl on a floaty, and like the knife goes up through the floaty and is like going towards her crotch. But the way it was shot, it just reminded me. It took me right back to Nightmare on Elm Street. And so I like the ADR on this dorky teenager who thinks he's like psychic. Like he looks like a dorky like freshman, but the ADR it sounds like an adult, like this grown man playing him. And so yeah, then the chick gets her gash slashed. Then we get like a motorbike chase sequence and kind of like a night school, and just like a night school, they think this is the killer, but it's not. Somebody got framed. And then I love this hard cut where the guy's like, is there anything I can do? Or I think the girl said it, and he just looks at her and it's like hard cut, they're having sex. Anything I could do? I can think of something you can do. And so then this guy's on the boat and the boat sinks. The killer sinks the boat, and for some reason the guy is never able to like leave the boat before it fully sinks. And we get like this Jaws moment where they go in the boat the next day to investigate, and the dead body is just floating around there. It's like a jump scare, kind of like in Jaws. And then the killer's just been waiting down there for how long? How much oxygen does he have? How long has he been waiting down there for the police to come investigate? Why was he still there? That's just ridiculous. And so yeah, he kills the other guy off camera, probably. I don't know. Yeah, just that's the problem with this movie. There's no memorable kills. It's a slasher with bad kills. So then they drain the canal thinking they got the killer caught, but it's like, really, you think this killer's that stupid? Like, this guy knows the area pretty well. You should know that. And so it's like obvious before it even gets to the reveal that the killer's not really down there trapped. And then we get this very long boat chase sequence, and there's tons of obstacles in their way. They're swerving around shit, and I like how this main guy, he's like, he gets in the boat, he's like, how do you start it? And then he becomes like an expert at driving the boat. Like, he doesn't even know how to start the boat, and then once he actually gets it started, he's like the world's best boat driver. Like, he's swerving around shit, he's making sharp turns and just avoiding everything and like going off ramps and shit. It turns into like a Fast and Furious movie. And like they're even like taking the boat on land at times and then going back in the water. It's ridiculous. And then you think the killer blows up. Nope, he's in the sewers. And then there's a sewer chase, and then he like gets shot in the arm with a harpoon and falls down. But before he like passes out, he shoots the killer right in his fucking face. Like, somehow the bullet like grazed his face mask, like it shattered his mask, but it didn't actually like hit him. Lucky, very lucky. Like, he should have gotten killed there. I don't see how that bullet missed his face. And for some reason, he has to be in the hospital for 4 days because of that simple like 15-foot drop. I don't see why he has to be hospitalized for that fucking long. And then, so then you think that the killer is the psychiatrist, which I thought that from the beginning. And I was thinking I was right. I was so confident I even wrote it down in my notes, like, the therapist is revealed as the killer, but nope, it's somebody else. And it's one of the friends or patients of the therapist, and he's got like chemical burns all over his face because of some accident years prior. Maybe it's that factory near the canal that those two people earlier were taking water samples in front of. I don't know. But yeah, there's not much exposition in the movie, so I don't really know exactly who this guy is, what his motivation is. Like, he's killing random people because he's mad at society, because society has shunned him because he looks ugly now. I don't know. It's like a cropsy thing. Cropsy, just like him, they're just horribly disfigured, so they're just pissed off. They're gonna go kill random people who aren't even responsible. Ugh. But yeah, then he kills himself, the killer, suicide by harpoon in the mouth. And then, just like in Night School, again, we get a fake out scare ending where, what happens? I didn't write it down exactly, but I remember there being a fake out scare. I've watched like 7 movies since this. So I forget what the fake out ending was. Oh yeah, he's like on the boat with his girlfriend now, that they're now dating, and he puts his foot in the water. He pretends like he's getting attacked from below, but he's not. So yeah, just another fake out ending. A little scare, it's silly, but yeah, that's the end of the movie. Yep. So it's, like I said, it's a fine movie. It's lacking in the kills. It's a little too long, but it's got silly things in it, and I like the killer's look and stuff like that. And that beginning scene with the whole body on top of the boat thing, hilarious. So worth checking out once, but not something I would like purchase a Blu-ray for. And the transfer I saw for this looked pretty good, so I think there is a Blu-ray out there for it. Maybe it's Shout Factory. I don't know. What's that company called? I don't know. Synapse. Is that what they're called? But yeah, I don't have any awards to give out because I don't have access to clips for this movie. So there you go. That's my thoughts on Amsterdamned. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen, you can hit this like button and become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month to request movie reviews like this, and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, Auf Wiedersehen.